Good morning, friends. Myself, Dr. Vijayendra Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English, and at present, I have been posted at Government College, Gudha, in the Jammu district. In the series of video lectures, which is being prepared by me for the students of English literature of our college, today's video is prepared for the students of BA Part First, subject English literature, paper first, and the topic on which we are going to talk in this video is a famous poem of John Dryden entitled A Song for Saint Cecilia's Day. In this video, we will talk about the explanation of the poem, as this poem is the longest poem in the syllabus of BA Part First. So I have decided to prepare two videos of its explanation. This is part one, or the first video on the explanation, and it covers the lines from 1 to 32. Students should keep in view that there will be another video, and I have already given you two videos in Hindi. This video is in English for the students to get benefit. If they have understood that video in Hindi, they will be able to understand it quite easily. Now let us come to the introduction of the poet. The poet is John Dryden. John Dryden was born in 1631 and died in 1700. That is, he lived during that span in the history of England when the monarchy was abolished for 12 years, from 1648 to 1660. There was no monarchy in England. In 1660, monarchy was re-established, restored, and as Charles II was again made the king, or after a gap of 12 years after the death of Charles I, Charles II was made the king. So this period during which Charles II ruled is known as Restoration period. And John Dryden is the leading or the most important literary personality of that period. He was not only a poet, he was a literary critic, translator, playwright, means he was a versatile genius. Moreover, he was the first person who was appointed poet laureate in 1668. He was such a great personality of his age that the period during which he did his activities as a literary person is known as Age of Dryden. In one of his literary work, particularly critical work, entitled An Essay of Dramatic Poesy, he wrote, every age has a kind of universal genius. Means in every age, a person is born who does something, who writes something, or who achieves something that becomes universal, that is respected and believed by all the ages. And this was true of Dryden also. Dryden also stands between the two ages in the literary history, age of Pope and age of Milton. And he serves as a transition from one to the other. Now let us come to the poem. Saint Cecilia was a Christian martyr who died at Rome in 230 AD. When she sacrificed her life for the sake of Christian religion in 230 AD. She is said to have been forced to marry in spite of her vows of celibacy. Celibacy remained unmarried and served the society, but she was compelled to get married. She converted her husband to Christianity and both suffered martyrdom. this day, that is the day of murder, we celebrated as Saint Cecilia's Day, and every year different or well-known personalities were consulted, requested to write songs so that they can be sung on that occasion. Our poet John Dryden was consulted or requested two times in 1687 and 1696. The present poem, which Dryden wrote, was for the celebration of 1687 year. Another important thing which we saw feature of our main character, that is Cecilia's, we should know is that she was a skillful musician. She invented a musical instrument named organ, and she is said to have invented that instrument, and that was very well popular instrument, and that used to produce very attractive or sweet music. It is said that she was a spotless personality, and because of her spotless purity, one angel came on the earth, who was to be her heavenly protector. This theme was at that time well known, and it was painted by Italian artist Raphael. Dryden in this poem has used this concept, but as a poet he has imagined something different. You will come to know about that. He says that Cecilia was such a sweet producer of music that when she produced music, an angel heard it and stately appeared on the earth. As the title shows, the poem was written in her honor, and Cecilia is also known as patron saint of music. And in this poem, the subject, or you can say the theme of the poem, is the power of music. That music has the power to do anything. And the poet has gone to the extent of saying that this universe was created by the power of music. And it is, this poem is regarded as one of the Dryden's creditable achievements, praiseworthy, which is not criticized by other critics. Now let us come to the explanation, which is our main topic of the lines. Now this is a very long poem, so we have decided to do the explanation in two parts. This is the first part. As I have told you, this poem was composed by Dryden to celebrate the 1687 occasion of the Saint Cecilia's Day. The poet says, from harmony, from heavenly harmony. Harmony means music, and heavenly harmony is from music of great quality, of having godly quality. This universal frame begins with design, the present framework of the universe, in which we see many planets, earth with sea, mountains, rivers, plain. So this was created by the power of music. The poet says, when nature, because there was a time when nature, underneath a heap of jarring atoms, jarring means of opposite qualities, atoms, very small, the smallest particles of a thing, the universe was not in the present form. There was universe, but it was in the form of atoms, and the atoms were lying near each other of opposite qualities. Say the atoms of water were lying near the atom of fire or earth or air, etc., and could not heave her head. The nature that was in the form of atoms, could not raise, could not lift, even raise her head. God saw all this and he spoke in a tuneful voice. The tuneful voice was heard from by then. God spoke in a tuneful voice which was heard by these atoms, and God said, arise, means get up, even you more than dead. You are more inactive than dead person. When a person is dead, he will remain inactive, but you are having life and you are not doing anything, means you are more inactive than dead. And when this was heard by atoms, then cold and hot and moist and rain, so different seasons, summer, winter, air, earth, all the elements, they were coming into existence. In other words, the atoms of earth were going into the earth, atom of water were into the water. Means all these things were started being created, or slowly and slowly the nature started taking a kind of form. In order to their station sleep, these atoms went at their respective places, and music's power obeyed because they were commanded by God to obey the power of that music. In other words, the musical voice of God had the power and they obey it. The result was different elements came or were coming into existence by the power of that music. This was the starting point of creation of the universe. It is the belief of the poet, and he is showing the power of music. Now the second part of the or second stanza. The poet says, from harmony, from heavenly earth, that's music, it was a heavenly music. This universal frame began, that the present design of the universe came into existence by the power of music. From harmony to harmony, through all the compass of the notes it read. Harmony from music to music, compass, range. All kinds of notes means music. Music was produced by God in all varieties. Variety one, then better variety, then it's better, then better, like that. It is continued being produced by God. The result was when the different varieties were produced, different elements and different things were taking shape or were produced by the power of music. The diapason, the scale of musical notes, closing full in man. When it reached its highest point, it stopped because, and at that time man was created and musical voice stopped. God stopped speaking or producing that musical tune. In other words, God created all the things by the power of music, and man was created when the highest variety of music was played on by God. Or in other words, man is the supreme creation of God, and it was produced by the power of music. Now the second point means the second part of the point. What passion cannot music raise and quell? Passion, feeling, emotions, strong feelings. The poet says, what passion cannot music raise means produce, well, calm down. There is not even a single feeling in the human heart which cannot be produced by the power of music and which cannot be calmed down by the power of music. In other words, music has the power to create all kinds of passion in human heart. Now he gives some examples. The first is of Jubal. Jubal is said to be the father of music in the Bible, and his music is associated with holy love, that is God of divine love or God of human being with God's love. So he is referred in that sense. When Jubal, that is father of music, which is referred in Bible, struck the fingers on his musical instrument, the corded cell, the wire which strings, which tied the musical instrument. His listening brethren means brethren. See the word brethren. Brethren means member of the same community. Brother means member of the same parents. Here, brother means member of the community. Stood around, they were standing here and there around the producer of the music, that is Jubal, and wondering on their faces. They were wonderstruck. They were highly impressed by that music. On their faces fell. They prostrated. They lay down on the ground to worship that celestial sound, celestial heavenly music. To produce to that music which was produced by the Jubal was very sweet and heavenly, and his member of the community were impressed, and in order to give respect, they prostrated on the earth. Less than a god they thought there could not dwell or live. They thought that there is certainly a God who is living within the hollow of that cell, that musical instrument, the hollow part, in which there is living God, and who is that spoke so sweetly and so well, who is speaking so sweetly and so well, means in such a beautiful and impressive manner. They were 100% sure that it is some God who is living in that hollow portion of that musical instrument who was singing. So in order to worship that God, they lay down on the earth and started worshipping that musical voice. Again, same line, as it is a ballad, so it happens. What passion cannot music raise and quell? What kind of passion music can not raise and quell? That is, music has the power to raise and to calm down all kinds of feelings in human heart. This is called rhetorical question. Now another stanza. The trumpet, loud clangor. Trumpet is a musical instrument, an instrument made of brass which is blown from the mouth. Loud clangor is clangor, harsh sound, not sweet sound, unpleasant sound. Excites us to arm. Excites means rouses in us the feeling that we should fight. The idea is the trumpet's music, when it is produced, the unpleasant sound affect the listeners, and they become ready to take up weapons and fight against the enemy. With shrill notes of anger, with very shrill and harsh and rough sound, they strikes or fills the listener with anger and mortal alarms. Mortal alarms means intense fear, the feeling of intense fear. They are filled with intense fear and they become ready to fight the enemy. So trumpets music produce the feeling of fighting against the enemy. Now another musical instrument, see, the double beat. The double. This shows something. Beat of the thundering drum. When drum is beaten, dum sound is produced. So here this line is called onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia means when the sounds of the words convey the meaning. When the drum is beaten, this kind of sound is produced. The sound of the drum cries as it is telling the listener, hearken, listen, the foes come, enemy. The enemy has come, charge, attack. It is filling the listener with the feeling that it's too late to retreat, go back. That enemy has come and now it is too late to go back. The idea is it fills the listener with the feeling of fight against the enemy. Now the enemy is on your door, either kill the enemy or get killed. This kind of feeling is produced into the mind or heart of the listener by the drum. So both drum and trumpet arouses same kind of feeling. Thank you very much.